Even as Pakistan has positioned itself as a diplomatic intermediary between the United States and Iran, fresh allegations from Afghanistan have accused Islamabad of carrying out airstrikes that reportedly killed children and other civilians across the border. Pakistan has once again been accused of striking targets inside Afghanistan, with Taliban authorities claiming that children, women, and other civilians were among those killed in the latest cross-border attacks. The fresh strikes have further rattled Afghanistan's security situation and are already raising questions about whether the Taliban administration could respond with retaliatory measures, risking another dangerous escalation between the two neighbors. The reported attacks in Afghanistan came at a particularly sensitive moment for the region, unfolding just as the United States launched new military strikes against Iran and tensions across multiple fronts continue to rise. On June 10, Afghanistan accused Pakistan of carrying out deadly cross-border airstrikes, marking the latest escalation in the increasingly volatile relationship between the two neighboring countries. According to the Associated Press, Afghan authorities said Pakistani airstrikes killed 13 people across the provinces of Khost, Kunar and Paktika, raising fresh concerns about security along the border. Taliban officials further claimed that the dead included 11 children, 1 woman and 1 elderly man, allegations that have intensified scrutiny of the reported strikes and their human cost. Pakistan has not officially acknowledged carrying out the reported airstrikes inside Afghanistan, and has yet to publicly respond to the allegations made by Afghan authorities. According to reports, Afghan officials also said that at least 14 other people were wounded in the suspected airstrikes, adding to the growing toll from the latest cross-border incident. Cross-border tensions escalated sharply after a deadly attack targeted Pakistani security forces, adding another flashpoint to the already strained relationship between Pakistan and Afghanistan. According to Pakistani authorities, suspected Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan militants killed 6 security personnel during an assault in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province near the Afghan border. The attack targeted the Hassan Kel security post, triggering a fierce gun battle in which Pakistani forces said 8 of the attackers were also killed. Pakistan stated that its security forces successfully foiled an attempt to overrun the border checkpoint, preventing the militants from seizing control of the strategic position. The latest violence comes after months of clashes, with Afghanistan and Pakistan exchanging strikes since February in a cycle of retaliation that has reportedly caused hundreds of deaths. The deadly developments in Afghanistan also unfolded at a sensitive regional moment, coming just as the United States launched new military strikes against Iran and tensions across the broader region continued to rise. Iran claims its latest retaliatory strike directly targeted the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain, marking a major escalation in the Gulf confrontation. The IRGC is warning that American military installations across the Middle East remain vulnerable if Washington continues its military campaign against Iran. Iran says its retaliation extended beyond Bahrain, with missile and drone attacks also targeting U.S. military facilities in Kuwait. Tehran claims long-range missiles struck key targets at the Al-Azraq airbase in Jordan, where American forces maintain a strategic presence. Iran has vowed a crushing response to any further U.S. attacks, signaling that its retaliatory campaign could widen across the region if tensions continue to rise. Iran International reports said, and I quote, Iran's Revolutionary Guard said they struck 4 key targets at the U.S. Al-Azraq airbase in Jordan, including what they described as F-35 fighter shelters and a command and control center. In a statement carried by Fast News, the IRGC said the attack was part of a continuing retaliatory operation following earlier strikes by its naval forces on U.S. facilities in the region and the reported downing of a U.S. MQ-9 drone over Bushehr province. The Guard said their aerospace force used long-range solid-fuel missiles to target and destroy 4 sites at the base. The IRGC warned that Iranian forces remain prepared to deliver a decisive and crushing response to any further attacks and said responsibility for the consequences of future military action would rest with the United States. Unquote. Iran has warned Washington of consequences after U.S. strikes near the Strait of Hormuz, vowing retaliation and raising fears of a wider regional conflict. After President Trump ordered retaliatory strikes over the downing of a U.S. Apache helicopter, Tehran responded with fresh threats and military action, escalating tensions across the Gulf. As CENTCOM wrapped up its strikes against Iranian targets, Tehran claimed to have launched attacks on U.S. bases, signaling that the confrontation is far from over. U.S. CENTCOM statement read, and I quote, U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, forces completed self-defense strikes against Iran, June 9th, at the Commander-in-Chief's direction in response to yesterday's downing of a U.S. Army Apache helicopter. CENTCOM forces struck Iranian air defense, ground control stations, and surveillance radar sites near the Strait of Hormuz with precision munitions from U.S. Air Force and Navy fighter jets. The operation was a proportional response to recent attacks on U.S. forces and international commercial ships transiting regional waters. U.S. forces remain vigilant and postured to defend against unjustified Iranian aggression, unquote. While CENTCOM says its operation is complete, Iran's Revolutionary Guard has signaled that its response is only beginning, with U.S. military bases across the region now firmly in its sights. Iran's Qadam al-Anbiya Central HQ statement read, and I quote, "In response to the aggression of the terrorist American army in areas of southern Iran under the false pretext of their helicopter crashing, several U.S. bases in the region have been targeted by a powerful assault from the heroic army of the Islamic Republic of Iran and the brave warriors of the IRGC. The criminal U.S. Army should know that if it repeats any aggression against the Islamic Republic of Iran, more severe and extensive strikes will be carried out against the designated target bank in the region," unquote. Trump's so-called self-defense strikes after the Apache loss appear to have faltered almost as soon as they began. Another MQ-9 drone has reportedly been downed by the IRGC in Jam City, in Iran's Bushehr province. On camera, IRGC air defenses appear to intercept an American drone as U.S. battlefield losses mount. Mojtaba appears to begin his revenge campaign as the first missile is launched from Iran amid renewed aggression. Multiple U.S. airstrikes rock Iran as Trump fumes over the reported downing of an Apache near Hormuz. Trump appears to hit back at Mojtaba after the U.S. helicopter loss escalates tensions in the Gulf. Trump confirms retaliatory strikes after Iran is blamed for the first reported Apache hit of the conflict. Donald Trump said, and I quote, "I have just been informed by our great military that last night the Iranians shot down one of our highly sophisticated Apache helicopters while patrolling over the Strait of Hormuz. There were 2 pilots involved. Both are safe and uninjured. Nevertheless, the United States must of necessity respond to this attack. Thank you for your attention to this matter," unquote. CENTCOM launches what it describes as self-defense strikes against Iranian targets amid renewed confrontation. War flares again in the Middle East just days after the latest Iran-Israel clash raised hopes of restraint. The U.S. targets Iran in what is being framed as a proportional response after containing Israeli pressure. U.S. Central Command said, and I quote, "U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, forces began launching self-defense strikes against Iran at 5 p.m. ET today at the Commander-in-Chief's direction, in response to yesterday's downing of a U.S. Army Apache helicopter. The mission is a proportional response to unjustified Iranian aggression," unquote. New blasts are reported at multiple Iranian military sites as the confrontation widens again. Southern Iran comes under fire after the U.S. retaliation linked to the Apache incident. Trump's response is being portrayed as a desperate move as the fragile ceasefire begins to fray again. Iran International citing Iranian media and officials reported, and I quote, "U.S. military forces struck several Iranian air defense batteries and radar systems around the Strait of Hormuz. One projectile impact has been confirmed in Sirik and several others on Keshem Island. The U.S. airstrikes targeted Iran's Sirik and Jask naval bases, an air defense position in Bandar Abbas, coastal missile batteries in Minab and Keshem, and the port of Keshem. Explosion sounds were heard in the vicinity of the southern Iranian port city of Jask," unquote. The Hormuz flashpoint ignites fresh fire as the IRGC says it will deliver a response. Iran's top diplomat warned U.S. forces to leave the region before the latest strikes intensified the crisis. Abbas Araghchi said, and I quote, "Despite its defeats on the battlefield, the U.S. opted to test our determination. Our powerful armed forces will leave no attack or threat unanswered. Leave our region if you want to be safe. History of the Persian Gulf has many chapters on dire fates of intruding outsiders," unquote.